I'm Jordan Hulm, and my goal is to persuade you that parents should allow their children to participate in America's favorite game of football. Parents in the world today are left with plenty of difficult decisions to make regarding their children, and one very tough decision is whether or not to allow their son to play football. According to a study, football is America's favorite sport to play as well as to watch. Many young children decide to watch the National Football League on Sundays during the fall and winter. While watching the games, many children begin to develop a love for the sport and a feeling of wanting to also play that sport themselves. However, at the age of 5 or maybe even 10, children are unable to realize the dangers that football can bring. This forces the parents to make the decision of letting their children play football or not. I believe football has many great health benefits as well as many great experiences that can outweigh the negative effects football can have. Many parents realize that football can be very healthy and a very good exercise. Also, football provides many instances for children to gain friendships with their teammates. The players are forced to work as a team to accomplish a common goal of defeating the opponent for a victory. The teamwork, exercise, and friendships gained are just a few of many benefits the sport can provide. The reason many parents decide not to let their son play football is that it can also be very dangerous. Deborah Pica is a parent who is unaware of the dangers her decision to allow her son Joseph play football presented. After Joseph developed CTE and later committed suicide, Pica was left searching for answers. She claims that a group called Pop Warner Football failed to protect its youngest players and warn their parents of how dangerous football can be. I disagree with Pica because I believe it is a parent's responsibility to be aware of what she is signing her son up for. It is easy to look back on past decisions and blame Pop Warner officials for not warning her, but it was her job to realize what her son was going to be participating in. Pop Warner Football has responded to the criticism and heat by doing what they can to improve the safety of their league. Football is changing in many ways with new rules to improve the safety and to avoid injury. Rules such as moving the kickoff up 5 yards to make touchbacks more likely, enforcing hits to the head as illegal 15-yard penalties, and in college, one hit to the head of an opponent can lead to an ejection of the game. Also, the equipment of football today is much improved from what it once was. Helmets in football today are equipped with gel to protect the head from dangerous blows. Shoulder pads are also much improved and can help prevent any upper body injuries. Players are allowed to wear rib cage protectors to cover the ribs. Underneath players' pants are a girdle with a butt pad, knee pads, and thigh pads. The new gear and equipment is very safe and designed to directly protect its players from possible injuries. Some children are signed up to play football as young as the age of 5. In my opinion, 5 is way too young for a person to be participating in football. At the age of 5, a child is not even close to fully developed, and many more injuries are possible due to this. I think that the age kids should be allowed to start playing football is 13. By the age of 13, a kid is more developed and will be able to take more dangerous hits. Also, I think it is important for young kids to be playing against kids more of their age range. If a 13-year-old boy is playing against a 16 or 17-year-old boy, they are obviously more likely to be injured. However, if all players are in the same age range, they should be pretty safe from possible injuries. Head trauma is one of the many dangers that football may bring. It is a very serious matter and nothing to take lightly. Head injuries and trauma can cause lifelong brain injuries. The NFL is taking many precautions to avoid the number of brain injuries in former players, with the number of brain injuries in players increasing. Any player who is suspected of receiving a concussion must pass a series of tests and medical exams before they are even allowed to re-enter the game. A recent study shows that about 87 of the 91 tested players who donated their brains to be tested for CTE after death were positive for CTE. CTE is a progressive degenerative brain disease found in some former players. The players who tested positive for this disease may have played the game at a time when it was more dangerous. Rules weren't as strict or gear wasn't as effective as it is now. Although football increases a person's chances of developing CTE, it is not the only football players who get CTE. Football is dangerous and there are many chances of injuries or diseases to be developed. However, if proper precautions are taken, it can be easily avoided. I played football for 6 years of my life and I never tested positive for a concussion. I don't know whether to consider myself lucky or not for this. I do know that if a player plays the game smart and avoids the dangerous or big hits, they can also avoid injuries or concussions. As a parent, you should warn your children about the dangers and teach them ways to avoid dangerous situations. Parents should become familiar with their children's coaches and be sure that they know what they are teaching their players. If a coach properly teaches his players how to avoid these situations, the kids should be kept safe. Each year, coaches go to conventions where they discuss proper ways to teach their players. Parents can make whatever decisions they please regarding their child playing football. However, I hope I help convince parents to allow them to play football. With proper gear, proper coaching, and the proper officiating, the kids will be in the safest hands possible and have the greatest chance of injury. Injury is still possible, but there is much less of a chance, and I hope parents allow their children to play football.